Dear listener, welcome back to another episode from the Winning Edge Talks podcast. This is Vishwanath, your host. I'm a sports and mental conditioning coach, counselor, author, blogger, and podcaster. The title of this episode is Why Does This Happen Only to India? It's been almost a week since the heartbreaking loss to Australia in the Cricket World Cup finals. It wouldn't have been this disappointing and sad had India not dominated throughout the tournament with 10 straight wins. Australia too were not too far behind with 9 wins in a row. The cricket crazy nation, the BCCI and the Indian cricket team may have been super confident that the dream run would culminate in Rohit Sharma lifting the cup, but that was not to be. Pat Cummins had other ideas. He not only read the pitch right, but had the right plans in place on how to restrict the might of Indian batting on a slow, dry pitch. Well supported by the other bowlers, Cummins bowled beautifully, taking the pace of the ball, bowling cutters repeatedly to ensure India was choked in the middle overs. The chokehold was so tight that India could manage only 2 boundaries in the middle overs. Pat's performance has been so extraordinary that Marnus Labuschagne, his colleague, said it was Pat Cummins' best day with the ball. People are speaking in hushed tones that India ordered for a slow, dry pitch for the finals. But why? A flat sporting wicket would always have helped India's chances because their batters were in top form and capable of scoring heavily. A big score with lots of 4s and 6s would have entertained over 1 lakh spectators in the stadium and millions across the globe watching on TV. Again, if India wanted a slow turner, then why did they go with only 2 spinners instead of 3? India had ordered for a slow turner, hoping that the pitch would behave the same for both sides, even under the lights. But it turned out to be the other way. Experts say India got it all wrong. They say, unlike the red pitch, like at the Wankhede and at the Lucknow Cricket Stadium, the black pitch at the Namo Stadium soaks up all the dew and becomes flat under lights. All of you know how easy the pitch became for the Aussies when they batted second. Some argue that the toss did India in. That's not true, because Rohit Sharma said if he had won the toss, he would have batted first. The same outcome would have befallen India had Rohit Sharma won the toss and decided to bat first. The twist in the tale came when the pitch eased out under the lights in the second innings. So, India were outsmarted and fell in the trap they set for the Aussies. The Aussies had done their homework well. A fact that should be taken note of seriously, and that is, India has been losing too frequently in the knockout stages of the major ICC trophy tournaments. Ever since Kapil Dev won the ODI World Cup in 1983, India has managed to win the same trophy only 12 years later in 2011 and only once. Coming to the T20 Championships, after MS Dhoni won the inaugural event in 2007, India are yet to lay their hands on the coveted trophy. And this is for the same reason, losing in the knockout stages. More often, apart from the tournaments they won, India having played well every time and hoping to win the cup were pipped at the post by some team or the other in the knockout stages. It's only MS Dhoni as India's captain who has won all the ICC limited overs tournaments from the ODI, the T20 and the Champions Trophy. Is it about the astute and composed leadership of MSD that was the reason for his fabulous record, or is there something else? Cricket is a religion in India, played by millions and followed passionately by crores of people. They adore their teams and their favorite players. They take everything that happened on the cricket field personally. The personal ego of the fans is invested in the game. When the team wins, they celebrate, and when it loses, they sink into despair. During Sachin Tendulkar's time, cricket zealots of India wanted him to do well every time he set foot on cricket pitch. This led to the most popular statement of the time: when Sachin bats well, India sleeps well. We have heard stories of how the Indian players, on losing a series, returned to the country on separate flights to avoid the gaze of their fans. A similar situation exists in the football-crazy world of South America and Europe. Imagine the plight of England or a Brazil side when they take to the pitch. The unreasonable expectations of the fans, coupled with their own, puts the players under severe pressure. They are constantly under scrutiny, with fear of failure lurking beneath. A situation that affects them psychologically and physiologically due to the stress response. Performing under pressure and fear of failure brings down performance. Players performing under pressure and fear of failure are often led to think, will I fail? What if the team loses? How are we going to show our faces to everyone? We are going to be disappointed. We are also going to disappoint the spectators and the fans. But the moot question again is, why has India lost so often in the knockout stages? The answer is, until the knockout stages, they may have performed freely without being outcome oriented. But the moment they enter a knockout game, pressure and fear of failure takes over. The moot point again is, pressure that was not a factor during the league stages of their World Cup raised its ugly head when the team entered the finals in the recently concluded Cricket World Cup 2023. Australia, a cricket-playing country of just 2.6 crore people and being a sports-loving nation, doesn't idolize its players and also doesn't put them under pressure. In contrast, in India, there is so much hype, fanfare and celebration and ooh la 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 after winning a major trophy. Media sources say motorcades were ready to ferry the Indian team post winning the cup. Would all these affect the team? I will leave it to your imagination. The guarantee that India would win the cup was greater certainty than the sun rising up the next day morning. When it was the day of the finale, the Aussies were the underdogs to India and they performed less under pressure with a nothing to lose attitude. The Aussies were more relaxed compared to India. They didn't go down to the vociferous patriotic chants of the massive crowd that kept chanting, Jeetega, Jeetega, India Jeetega. Pat Cummins had said, he wanted to silence the massive crowd, and this they did successfully as the match progressed. We've always been told that the Aussies play their sports the hard way. They bear an aggressive attitude and fight till the finish. I will not go into their culture, their background, and their DNA. But that is the stuff the Aussies are made of. Aggression is their brand. And at least until recently, they were very unpopular for their sledging. In contrast, India has had a cultural history of being sober, of being controlled in their behavior. They have shown a tendency to go into the shell and become defensive when the odds push them against the wall. The question is, can they play aggressive cricket when needed without getting too aroused? Probably not. It's a practice after all. The IPL would have taught them how to get the best out of them under pressure. But playing for the country is another cup of tea. The likes of Surya and the younger brigade comprising Ishan Kishan, Rinku and a few others are an exception. This is what happened to the team on that fateful Sunday when they could not even take calculated risks. KL Rahul was cautious and even the likes of Surya was hesitant to throw the bat around. At least rotating the strike could have put on 20 or 30 runs more. India as a sporting nation craves for recognition, accolades, stardom and international success. Indian athletes are desperate for big results because one big result will catapult them to stardom. This is an issue not faced only by cricketers alone, but athletes of other disciplines as well. Athletes during major international competitions have failed to attain the results that they really should have, and desperation was the cause. Too much desperation puts too much pressure to rob them of the results. Overall, Indian athletes need to play those big moments well and give their best when it really matters. The only solution for them is to give up their desperation, not be afraid of failure, be in the present moment and execute fearlessly. Indian cricketers cannot control the expectations of the fans and their behavior and also the pressure they create. All that they can control is their own expectations, their execution, and how calm they can be in the most trying circumstances. Let's sincerely hope India can change things around in the T20 World Cup happening in 2024. Best of luck, Team India. I'll be back with you soon for my next episode. Until then, bye.